It's 2:32. Let me take a drink. I just was sitting here thinking about one of my partners in particular. Me and Skrilly, we used to sit down and we had these long, conversations, and we would always talk about business, or we would talk about, just different things and how the mind works. And, me and him could start out with like a simple conversation and it would get deep because we both were Sag. So partially we wouldn't get along all the time because we kind of had similar minds, but a little bit different. We just kind of understood each other though. Long story short, free my bro on top of that. But so this conversation here is about growing versus not growing. Are you getting old, or are you growing old? And those is two different things. Because if you're getting old, you're just getting old according to your age and how long you've been on earth. But if you're growing old, you're growing, you're maturing. Every day you elevate. I always trip off of that scripture in the Bible where it talks about renewing your mind and being renewed every day. So if somebody knew you last year or the year before that or even a few months ago, you don't know me now because I'm renewed every day. But people tend to want to hold on to the version of you that they knew because that was the version of you that's real to them. But as we grow and evolve, we have to separate ourselves, and that's part of how all that works. And some of the people that used to hang out with every day or go out to the club with or do some of these things with, you'll no longer have nothing in common with them, and they'll feel like you betrayed them. They'll feel all these different emotions, but you must stay true to your course. Remember, are you getting old or growing old? And those are things that we just want to really pay attention to, because as all of us grows and as all of us is getting old, we want to know which one we're doing so we can be better. Sometimes you can be just living. You're experiencing life, but you're not really living life. So all these things is just things we learn along the way. And I don't knock some of the people that still got this mentality, but I can't really do too much with them. I can't really be around them. I can't really indulge in them like that because our mindsets is different. Because again, I want to do this gracefully. I want to be better. Sometimes, like through our teenage years and 20s, we're just trying to figure it out. As you get to your 30s, then you start to get a little bit more stable. And then when you get in the 40s, you like, man, I want to start owning things. I want to, it's almost like you're on a time clock, but not really, because you put yourself on your own time clock, not the one that's based on the one that the world uses. So again, we want to grow. I'm not a perfect person, nor do I try to paint myself up this perfect picture or anything, but as time has gone, I just keep trying to grow. And so all my guys and my dudes that I really chop it up with, we always talking about growth, because if there's no growth there, it's no room to grow. That means you've just set into your mentality of who you are. And that happens to a lot of human beings because whatever their life is, they get used to that. They get comfortable. They get complacent. But to be successful, you can't get comfortable and complacent. You have to get out your norm. Once you get out your norm, then great things can happen. Let me take a break for a sec. Take another drink of water. So this convo is I'm back. Excuse me. But yeah, this convo is just, I'm not gonna do too much editing or nothing because I wanted this to be raw. Um, like I said, we used to sit down, and me and my brother, that's my brother for sure. We would sit down and we would talk about just certain things and how things really be, and how to stay out the way and not you know be in some of these situations. And I'm gonna tell you the crazy thing: you can try your best to stay out of these situations, but even if you're in the same town as some of these people, you'll be in certain situations that you didn't want to even be in. And that's why years ago I separated myself. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people hate me for that. A lot of people feel like I'm disloyal for that. A lot of people feel like I left the streets for that. It's so many different opinions that's attached to that. But the truth is, I had to grow. I couldn't grow in an area where these is my classmates. These is people I grew up with. Um, Everything in my environment, the way the law enforcement was set up, everything um, in that town is set up for failure. So that's why a lot of people fail. And a lot of people have a failed mentality because they ain't seen nothing else outside of that little area. So they think small, they think minute. They don't understand the bigger possibilities. They don't understand that you can do something greater because we was never showed that. So once we start getting showed that, and once we learn these things ourselves, but first and foremost, you got to seek knowledge. Let's just put that out there. If you really want knowledge, you have to seek it. Knowledge don't always just fall in your lap. Now, you might know somebody that's put together and maybe they, have conversations or whatever with you, but truth is, if the knowledge is something you really want, you got to go out and look for it. So, in my quest for knowledge, as I start understanding things more, I wanted less of everything else that wasn't that. So my sense of fulfillment that makes me fulfilled is that I'm always striving for something better. I don't always reach that goal. I don't always do exactly what I'm setting out to do. But just keep in mind this. If you had a checklist, let's say your checklist had 10 goals on it. As long as you checking them off, you don't have to check them off every day. But as you check them off, you'll start learning, okay, I can do this piece by piece. I don't have to do this all at once. Create you some goals and don't stop working on them. Don't create the goals and then never work toward them. Next thing you know, you just procrastinate. But really, put your feet forward. Again, are we growing or we growing old? I mean, the choice is up to you. It's totally up to you. And so, this morning I just wanted to give somebody some type of motivation that this is something you really want to do it. No, don't wait. Do it now. If it's something you want to do it now. Because the whole thing about it is the more we get in a thought and we don't act on that thought, that's how you start procrastinating. So when you think of something or you see something or something that motivates you, these is all manifestations to something better. So sometimes we'll see something like a number or it could be anything that you just keep seeing over and over. That's our mind trying to show us, hey, gather that, grab that, whatever that is. So it's being effective in what we're trying to do. It's putting our intentions in the earth as well, in the universe, to say, but in the earth as well. Yeah, you want to make sure you putting your intentions in the earth and in the universe, and the things that you say, you want to make sure you speaking positive. It's life and death in the tongue. So if you're not talking about life, then it's death in that. And you got to always remember that. Don't be afraid to sit alone. Because a lot of times it's a lonely road. When you change your life, when you're doing negative things, it's anybody who jump in the car with you. When you're ready to risk it all, anybody will jump in the car with you. When you're doing the wrong thing, anybody will jump in the car with you. As you start changing your life, your circle, not only should you want it to change, you should make it change. Because even if you love those people and you want to keep hanging out with those people, if they're doing the same thing that you're trying not to do and that you've grown from, all that's going to do is stop your progress going forward. So that's just something that we must know. It's going to stop your progress because anything that's not pushing you forward is pushing you backwards. If you're not taking steps forward, then either you're standing in one place or you're going backwards, because you can't do both. You can't go forward and backward at the same time. Try it. Start walking forward and walk backwards at the same time. I bet you can't do it, because nobody can. So, and we ain't even trying to do it because we want to do the right thing. We want to go forward. We don't want to go back. Will we slide sometime? Will we go back? Yes, of course. But we never submit to that. We never submit to defeat. We always be mindful. So in my end conclusion, I say, are you getting old or are you growing old? Rethink, rebuild, restructure. Break the cycle.